So you join us on the banks of Abbey Lakes. Myself, my good mate James Topper and Rich, we've all had a week off work and we've come across on the tunnel, little 2-hour drive, it's so easy to do. We've got to Abbey Lakes, no issues, met Mark and Lou, people that are running the place now, cracking people, gave us loads of advice, really friendly. They took us round, advised us to go on Kingfisher Lake. It's quite quiet at the moment, luckily. And yeah, we've had a good walk round. We've seen some fish. Peg 5 was free. There was fish showing. So we decided for the first night, we're going to jump all together in Peg 3. You know what it's like the first day. You've been up, you're excited, you've rushed across, you know, you're all geared up to do this. Rich is on the right-hand side, I'm in the middle, Topper's on the left. Mark's told us a few good likely spots to start with. You'd be silly not to listen to him. He lives here, he's round the lakes every single day, he knows them like the back of his hand. So we've gone on his advice, put the boat out, sure enough, found some nice clear areas in amongst the weed. Not gone mad on bait to start with, pretty light. Rods are out there, there's fish showing, it's looking pretty good for hopefully tonight we get lucky, we'll see what happens. Well, as far as first morning goes, I don't think we can get much better than this. Shentz has got a real good one in the sling he's just had. My right hand rod's ripped off. It's looking so good for a few bites. Seen so many fish this morning. Seems like they're held up to our right in a bay where there's no one fishing and we're just picking them off as they start moving about. Hopefully we can get this in. Rod back out. It's the first of a few more. So when I walked round when we got here yesterday, noticed a few fish showing about 80, 100 yards out. And the lads in the Mark and that, they showed us some drone shots and it was clear at that range there's a big drop off. So I put the boat out there. It was quite weedy and then all of a sudden there was a lovely clear area and then it drops from about 12 foot right down to sort of 26s. Right in the zone where the fish were showing. So I've got my rods fishing on top of the shelf out in the pond and yeah, looks like a mega passing area. It's out in the middle of the lake. I'm quite convinced it's going to do a number of bites. I've gone in with something I trust and got absolute faith in. Active Bait Solutions K2. It's a top quality fish meal boilie, garlicky. Fish just love it. Never doubted that would work, to be honest. No, it's fine, mate. Don't look a bad one. In fact, big old head. Come on, baby. Got a massive head. That's a good one, that is. Wow. What a start. Old 40-pound Kingfisher carp. Lovely. A few days into our session here at Abbey on Kingfisher, and yeah, it's gone really well. We had a cracking start. That first morning we couldn't have really wished for better. Shenton catching that massive 53-pounder, beautiful dark carp. And I got lucky and had a few as well. I think I had 4, maybe 5 in the first morning. All off one spot, you know, the tactics were working. We have changed things as the weeks progressed. You know, we're learning as we go. None of us had been here before. We didn't have a lot of information on the venue. So, you know, as you go, you learn. Same with all fishing. As you're fishing, you've always got to read what's happening in the water and pick up from that and change things. So for instance, the first night I went in with, I just fished 2 rods on at one spot. I had a yellow hook bait on and a match the hatch. My bites come on the right hand rod on the match the hatch. So then what I'd done, I swapped the hook bait colour over, so the left hand rod had the match the hatch, right hand rod was the yellow. The bites then again come on the left hand rod. So that told me they liked the match the hatch style hook bait. So now all the rods, we've gone match the hatch, and it's worked. You know, we've had quite a few now. We've also, with the baiting, we've learned to change that as we've gone on. We started off with a lot of boily crumb, hemp, corn. You know, we bought some party mix from Mark at Abbey, and yeah, great bait, but it seemed to drag the tension even quicker. We were dropping rods and getting tension in the evening straight away. Not what you want really. So we've changed that now, and now we're using more bigger pellets, a whole boilie. It's still putting a little bit of particle out, but not a lot at all. Load of nice liquids that we got, and yeah, that sort of slowed them down. We're still getting them. The other thing that we've done as well, I started off with 12mm hook baits and just got wiped out, so we've upped the size of the hook baits. Again, it's not stopped them, but it's slowed it down and meant your rods are staying out there that little bit longer, which is all, as you go, you progress, you learn, and it's all about reading the water and what the fish are telling you. You know, they've definitely, throughout the session, they've edged more and more to the right in an area where no one's fishing, as you'd expect, and they seem to be really happy there, and we're just picking them off as they drift out in the mornings. I mean, Shenton's been pretty consistent that he's getting a bite every morning off his zone, and we seem to be a bit later than that we get ours. I mean, Top's had a few now as well, but again, unfortunately, the left-hand side of the swim, there was just no signs of carp. So what we've done, we've actually moved them all over, and now we're all fishing sort of a good zone. At the end of the day, we're all mates, we're all on holiday, so you want to try and get the most out of it for all 3 of us. We all want to catch a fish, hopefully we'll get a nice one and just have a lovely time. So when we got here, obviously the first thing you do on any venue is you speak, like especially these Abbey Lakes. Myself running Cottington, I'm there regular. I know the spots, the areas where the fish feed. Mark's exactly the same out here. Him and the other Mark who run it, they are here every single day. They know these lakes like the back of their hand. When you come to these venues, there's nothing wrong with asking them what swims are good, what areas do bites, what the fish normally do they hold up in certain areas. You know, try and get as much information to give you any little edges that you can get straight away. It makes it easier. So you haven't got to go in and swim and smash it up with 100 casts. Mark is good enough to say there's an area out there, sort of 20 wraps, there's a bit there, and then you can just have a couple of casts, clarify that the spots are clear and fishable, and that makes a big difference. The last thing you want, especially this week the venue's quiet. You know, we've been very lucky that there's just the 3 of us fishing. If we'd have gone in this swim to start with and had 300 or 400 casts and smashed it to pieces, I've got no doubt them fish would have gone, see you later, over the other side, away from the pressure, and we probably would have struggled. You know, it probably would have ruined it for the week. But listening to Mark's advice, you know, they know where the weed is. They've got drone shots of where the weed beds were out here when the weed was at the surface. And all that's been invaluable really. We've really gained some good information from him. So the rigs for the week, I've changed absolutely nothing. At home now I use tubing most of the time. I like to use a big heavy lead, 4 or 5 ounce if I can, depending on the rules wherever I'm fishing. I just feel that that really pulls the hook home. You know, imagine the fish come up, get a little prick and shake their heads. That big heavy lead's just drilling that hook in. I think that makes a big difference, home and abroad. But other than that, I've used exactly the same rig that I've been using at home. I'm fishing sort of not rock hard ground, but it's not real silty, soft stuff. I think it's like a bit of sand out there. The leads, I imagine in my head, the lead's probably plumbing it in maybe an inch or so, which is even better really. It plugs, and when they do pull it, it really pulls the hook home. So I didn't need anything, you know, like a helicopter rig to sit above silt or anything like that. So I've just gone in with my basic lead clip, 5 inches of boom to my little spinner rig, using wafters. We've caught them on wafters and pop-ups. Doesn't seem to make that much of a difference, but just use strong, reliable tackle that you use at home. And if you can catch them at home on good, you know, good quality tackle, you'll catch them here. They're no different, they're just a little bit bigger. You know, the hook holds have been good, not dropped a fish yet, touch wood. The rigs have worked perfectly. I never doubt my rigs. You've got to be confident in whatever you are doing. Just stick with it, believe in what you're doing, and you will catch them. Something that I do think is really, really important at home fishing and when you come abroad is taking the best quality boilies you can possibly get. You know, I've been using Active Bait Solutions now. A guy called Jeff Bowers owns that. He's probably sold more bait in the UK than any other living man. He's been rolling boilies for 40 years and the bait is absolute top notch, in my opinion. You know, there's all different opinions and that, but I think his bait, at the end of the day, he's stood the test of time. He's been rolling bait for 40 years and there's not many other men that can say that they've consistently rolled boilies for 40 years of their life. When you talk to him, his knowledge is just incredible. You know, he's like an encyclopedia of bait rolling, if you like. So when I've come out here, said to Jeff, I want 2 baits. I want a quality sort of nut, creamy sort of nut bait, and I want a really good fish meal. He advised me to go with the maple cream, which is obviously a nut bait, real good quality bait, and the K2, which is a garlicky, fish mealy type bait. And as it's turned out, it seems to be more the K2 that they've been getting on here. But then before I've had it when I went to France, where the maple cream was the one. So that's why I like to bring 2 different baits. I've got 100% confidence in both of them baits. I've used them at home, I've caught loads of carp on them. If you bring them abroad, like I say, these fish are no different to any fish that you're fishing for at home. A quality bait is a quality bait. One thing that I do think is amazing, that people spend all that money doing these trips, and then when it comes to the bait, they sort of scrimp and save a few quid if they can. I think I'd rather pay a little bit more and go knowing that I've got one of the best quality baits that we can possibly give them. I've got some good quality pellet that we brought as well. Again, that plays quite a big part in my fishing. I feel that that's an edge. And also some real good quality liquids. Jeff, again, his knowledge is phenomenal with everything like that, and he's made me, you know, a nice bit of liquid, and we took that. And what we have noticed, when we put the bait boat in with the liquids in that, the small fish just go mental. It's like the attraction must be unbelievable. They surround the boat. And there's no food there, it's just the smell of the liquids coming out in the water. So it's obviously super attractive. I think that's probably helped us a bit on this trip as well. So here at Abbey Lakes, you are allowed bait boats. Now, love them or hate them, and I know there's a lot of people out there that frown on them, you know, the old school anglers, if you like, and then the younger, you know, it's part of modern day fishing. But one thing I've learned over the last few years, if they are allowed, you cannot compete with them, in my opinion. You know, we've been using them this trip, but for dropping parcels of bait out, they really are unbeatable. One thing we have been doing is we've been doing multiple runs with the bait boat. So what we've been doing, we've been wrapping up, clipping up like normal, not putting the rig on, taking it out with just a lead, hitting the clip, opening it up, letting it down, back in, and we've been doing that 2 or 3 times so that we're getting a bit more bait out there, because we was a bit concerned that with the way the tench are, within a few hours, come the morning especially, you're probably not going to bait out there. So we've actually upped the amount of bait we've been putting in throughout the week to make sure that when it comes to the morning and the carp are feeding at their hardest, there's definitely going to be some bait out there so they can get their heads down and yeah, get us a few bites. One thing we have done all week this week is every day around midday we've been reeling in, we've been going up the clubhouse, having a chat with Mark and Lou, having showers, going up the supermarket, fresh supplies. Topper's obsessed with ice, so he's been buying bags and bags of ice for our cold beers in the evenings. Coming back in the clubhouse again, it's lovely, such a good setup there. Mark and Lou are so welcoming and helpful. You know, we've been having a couple of cold runs up there, and then we come back out in the evening once it started to cool down a bit. Rods are already clipped up, ready to go. It's just a simple case of getting the bait in. We've actually lengthened the time that we've been putting them out. We found that the tench were really active late afternoons, so we've now gone till 7 o'clock before we're dropping the rods, just to try and stop catching tench basically, you know, keep the bait out there in that prime time. We have had one carp in the evening, but most of them have been that early morning period. It seems to be the key time when you want your rods out and you're sitting there thinking, any moment we're going to get one. Another thing that I think has been pretty important this week, and the reason we have rested the swim, obviously like I said just now, the lake's really quiet. We've got the whole lake to ourselves. If we keep pressuring this area too much, the fish will just push away. They have edged over to the other side. We've noticed the last 24 hours there's definitely been a lot more shows in front of Pegs 1 along the tree line. They've definitely edged over. I think if we'd have punished it all day, every day, they'd have gone even further and quicker. So by reeling in, it gives them time, they can come across. Where we're fishing out here, there's a big shallow sandy area, a bit of weed and that, so I'd imagine they want to be here, but our pressure's probably held them off. So by reeling in, resting the swim, they come up up on the shelf in the sun, mooch about in the weed. They've been going to the right in the snags all down the tree line. Every evening there's fish going in there, you know, so I think that's probably paid off in the long run. And you are on holiday at the end of the day, you know, you don't have to sit here and punish it out. There's lovely facilities. We've all found that by going and have a shower every day, you come back, you feel like a fresh man, restart. So don't sit there and bore it out, you know, you are on holiday, treat it like that and just enjoy yourself, get the most out of it that you can.